Why do we need the Chuni eye? We don't need the Human Torch eye. We don't need the Static Shock eye. Okay, now we got the Gushing Over Magical Girl's eye. Why does she have... Is this Reki Kawahara in octopus form? What is he doing? For one last hurrah, we're gonna introduce another good character design just to kill them in 2 seconds. One more for old time's sake before we say goodbye. So today, we're breaking down the last episode of Ninja and Assassin Under One Roof. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, show your support, subscribe if you're new around here, and of course Patreon, full live reactions and exclusives over there. Great stopping point. If we never saw season 2, I'm not going to look back as this was an inconclusive series that just like they dropped us at middle of no, like it was a very satisfying stopping point. The development that Konoha and Sadako went through, fantastic. We didn't end up with the kiss. We didn't end up like their pals getting down and dirty and scissoring left and right because you know damn well they were doing that every other scene. But you could tell the development they went through. And a blind man could see, despite how slow they will obviously take their relationship, I mean, these two psychos were made for each other. And I think they left it off in a very satisfying note. I've been told that come next year, once we get another volume of the manga, there would be enough for a season 2. So it's not impossible that we could see it in a couple years' time. But if this is all we ever got, I'm going to look back very fondly as this is, you know, to be honest, probably one of my new favorite Shaft anime productions. I haven't really said that about a modern Shaft anime. Like, most of my favorite Shaft stuff is stuff that they've been working on for a long time, like the Monogatari stuff, or it's, you know, their older catalog stuff. This is just fantastic. They managed to, like, give consequences, but at the same time, make it so future arcs weren't gonna suffer. Like, here's the thing. I remember when I was reading the Walking Dead comics, Robert Kirkman really regretted, you know, cutting off of the main character's hand, because it's just harder to write scenes with a one-armed character. So the idea that we were able to make Konoha lose an arm, they immediately had an out. I mean, we got very talented people, so we could have had a robotic arm, we could have done a lot of things, but the idea that we got to see that she actually had to lose an arm to get back to her girl, but then yes, we did heal her. It doesn't mean like, oh, you know, there's no consequences. It shows that, you know, had it been a worse wound, she would have never made it back. So there still is a threat of death, and we got the battle scars to prove it. And then as for our girl, Little Miss Ninja, she lost her eye, and then she had to go through an abundance of, like, superhuman eyes to get to, like, the new one, and the fact that her colors are mismatched in terms of her eye color, and then she has all these scars on her body. I love the idea that neither one of them looks at the other scars as imperfect. They're like, no, it's fine on you. I really appreciate it. Even though they themselves don't like it. It's such a nice detail. And like, while they never explicitly said, I love you, we had Konoha be like, I need you to sleep under the covers with me tonight. The idea that she had to return, like, you don't just return home for your friend like that. Like, this is a girl who clearly was falling in love with her. Now, of course, there still was the 12 bozos who would try to tell me, oh, there's nothing romantic. They're just friends. In the show that the only romance we saw was between two women. You know, a blind man could see what they were going for. And honestly, I think the fact that rather than going explicit, we're gonna kiss, we're gonna do this or that, it made their dynamic more interesting to me because you really got to see them, you know, at the end of the day, objectively, they did a lot of evil and heinous shit. But did they become better people by the end? Well, one of them did. The other started off at a base level decent and then got corrupted, so that she just kind of like, she, you know, little Miss Ninja is a questionable beast, but she was surrounded by poor decision-making by her peers. But in terms of Little Miss Assassin, yeah, she became a lot better of a person. And I think the idea of not seeing what happened to her and spending the entire episode just being like, what happened with her? Like, you know, if I never return, I'm dead. Insert little, you know, Miss Playboy Bunny popping back up. She got was that Octillery from Pokemon? Like, I don't even know, man. She got that because she's like, you fool me once, shame on you. Either way, though, just a very satisfying stopping point. It was fun, it was deranged. And at the end of the day, when I can come up here, and I would say 80% of the titles I made for these videos were the least misrepresented titles I've ever made on the channel. Like, it was like pretty much pulled descriptions from the episodes. Now, sometimes did I have a little fun and stretch the truth? Sure. I'm a little troll. I like a good little clickbait in my life. But the fact that I could have probably some of the craziest titles I've ever made on the channel, and it's just pulled from the episodes, you know, it's brilliant. I'm gonna miss this one. This was absolutely a top 5 show of this spring 25 season for me. I mean, there was a lot of really good stuff, but this was the one that I knew every week. I was like, I'm so excited to jump into this one. I wish it was longer. I wish we had more to watch. I wish more people gave it a shot, but you know, it is what it is. There was a lot of great stuff to watch this season, but this is a gem. This is one that I truly feel like, thinking about when I got into anime, you know, I heard about certain things, and then I discovered stuff that I was like, oh man, like this, like how did more people not have this in their favorites list? I'm just imagining 10 years from now when people are getting into anime, like obviously it's harder because there's so much more being made, so certain shows get buried. But like just thinking of the people, like when I started getting into anime 10 years from now, doing it for the first time themselves, the amount of joy I would have if this was one of the first like 100 shows I consumed, it would like establish the type of shows I want to see more of. And hopefully this is just the beginning of the crazy, murderous Yuri trend that isn't completely murderous, but at the same time, they are very questionable, and we say, wait a second, are we the baddies, and as we're also having wholesome bonding. Granted, it never stayed too wholesome, as you did have sus sisters and the like, but either way, I leave a happy camper. Honestly, the shows are ending really satisfying this season. There's a lot of shows that I'm like, damn, like if we never get more, this is a pretty good stopping point. I like that. I much prefer a decent stopping point than blue balls, go read the manga, go read the light novel, go read the chalkboard ending, for God's sakes. No, like give us a decent stopping point if you don't know if you're getting more, and then if you do give us more, that's great. I had a blast. I truly think this was as close to perfect that you could have made this show. Beautiful art direction. Even though there wasn't a lot of Shaftisms, what I mean is, if you watch a show like Monogatari, there's so many distinct things that make that show Shaft. There was a couple of head tilts in this one. There was a couple of eye glazes. You know, there was a couple of those where I was like, okay, that feels like Shaft. But for the most part, this felt more Kyoto Animation than anything. And I love that about this show. It just felt fresh. I don't know. You can let me know what you thought down below in terms of the last episode, the show as a whole. Want a season 2? Let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around, of course, ring that bell, and yes, Patreon, where we got those full live reactions on all these amazing episodes, and hey, while you're over there, I also give other exclusives like video shoutouts to all of my patrons. So today we got Squealeton, More Rudd, Shadow Cyber Demon, Brandon Logren, Tiago Gramalis, Trap Senpai, F Google, Andre, Darthwin Wright, Magical, Eric Barton, Extras Ghoul, Jeff, Don, Chemist, and we also have Restart Coons. I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.